How we doing, guys? Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. Hope your weekend was great. I am Sean in Alaska. For those of you guys that are new here, I'm going to wait until audio and video. Let me know how you guys. How's the audio and video? Let me know how that is before I go back to the top. But I like to say hello to everybody. I like to answer everybody's questions that I possibly can. And if I miss your question, do me a favor, ask it again, leave it in caps. And if I've already answered it, don't worry about it. I'll just skip over it when I see it the second time. Good. Everything looks good. Right on. Holy smokes, Russell Nicolini. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. All right, let's scroll back up here to the top and say hi to everybody. And then we'll do a little walkthrough on what I got done this week. And as you can see behind me, there's a whole bunch more wood going on back there. Karen was the first one in. Karen, as always, great to see you. Charles and Annalyn from the Philippines. Awesome. Glad you could make it. JD, good to see you, man. How you doing today? Richard Young, thank you for joining me today. Jim at Woolly Rhino Adventures. Cabin's doing well. It's pretty windy. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick. Banners, and I'll show that. So on the bottom, you'll actually be able to see it. 17 outside with a wind chill of 8, 58 inside on the floor here, 66 in the loft. Winds are about 17 miles per hour and 85% humidity in Funny River, Alaska, which is pretty awesome because the humidity outside is actually higher than the humidity inside the cabin right now, which is super, super cool. Ward, good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man? Seton Marine, how you doing? Good to see you as well. I'm getting pretty excited too. Pretty darn excited myself. I'm getting every single weekend I'm a little one step closer. Yep, Jim, holding heat. Definitely holding heat right now, which is awesome. Although I did run out of propane this morning, so I did have to run it down to get some more because invariably what will happen is once every couple of months, I'll run out of all the propane and I'll be like, and I just filled up a couple of bottles. So when I went in the trailer this morning to fix up or grab some coffee beans so I can come out here and fix coffee because I didn't have enough beans out here, the heater was out in there and then the heater was going out in here. So I had to go to town and get more propane, but it's all toasty warm in here now. Joe, good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. Sunshine, how are you over in Kenai? You're getting a little wind blown as well. It's windy in Kenai all the time. Anyway, Built on the Rock Homestead, how are you doing today? Daily Prepper from Willow, Alaska. Glad you could make it. Willow's beautiful. That's one of those places in Alaska that if I wasn't here, I might be there because it's super, super pretty. Jonathan Davis, good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. Matt, how you doing, brother? Good to see you today. Ginger, glad you could make it as well. Jess at Rain Dance Bushcraft, how you doing, my friend? Jess's lives are fun. I like Jess's lives. He kind of themes them, and then they vary from the theme, and then they kind of vary back, but they're super cool. I always have fun on Tuesday night with Jess. Sparky's Run, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing today? Peggy Gentry, glad you could make it as well. Scrolling to Big Bear Prepper, how are you doing? Good to see you. Raccoon Montana, good to see you as well. Long's Quest, welcome. Glad you can make it this afternoon. Russell, I said hi to Rusty. I've known Rusty for years, so when I used to make donuts for my dad, and then when I owned the donut shop, Rusty worked across the street and he was in the restaurant donut shop every day. Freaking awesome guy. Good to see you, Rusty. Scrolling through here again, it's all good. 5x5, 5x5. Rebel Canners, glad you could make it as well. Thank you for joining me today. Kevin, how are you today from the Mount Pleasant, Michigan area? Cabin's looking awesome indeed. Thank you very much, man. I am I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty satisfied with satisfied seems to be my new word now, right? I'm pretty satisfied with how the weekend went. I got a lot done. And as always, because you're on the live, I'm going to pick the camera up and show you what I did this weekend and show you exactly where I'm at right now. But we'll do that in a couple of minutes when I get caught up here. Marion, glad you could make it. Awesome to have you here. Sean, you should try one of those Chinese diesel heaters. I'm going to probably, I'm going to look into one just because it would be super, super simple to run in here, and it's a drier heat than what I'm getting off of the propane heater, off of the Buddy heater. I do love the Buddy heater, don't get me wrong, because it is warm like right now. Great heat out of those things. But I really like everything I've been reading on those diesel heaters. And Todd's got one. He's got a couple of them across the street, so I might borrow one of Todd's and see how it works out. Be Charming from Florida, how are you doing? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You guys are a lot warmer than we are today. But the east coast of the United States, I think, is a lot colder than Alaska. And down south, all the way from Texas, all the way up across the United States, even into parts of Florida a couple of times this year, You guys have been colder than we've been. This has been a warm January and now into February for Alaska, and I'm not complaining at all. Yvonne, how are you? Good to see you. Lipstick Lodge, good to see you as well. You've been tearing up the videos and leaving loads of comments, and I love that. And the suggestions you've left me have been awesome. So I do take, if you watch any of my videos and you leave a comment and you leave a suggestion of something that I might want to try doing differently, I take every one of those to heart. They're super, super awesome. And they're greatly appreciated. You see me bending over here, it's because I don't really have a table. So I've got the mouse sitting over here. It's either that or I do it on my leg. Send another lady my way. Awesome. Awesome. Jess, my lives are themed until Russell shows up and ruins them. Ryan, good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. Oh, very cool. Awesome. Okay, so you guys ready for, we'll do the camera thing today and show you where we're at right now. I actually made sure the cable was untangled too. All right, let's do this. So hopefully I won't move it too fast. So this weekend, let me turn it around here. This weekend I framed in the bathroom, so that is completely done. And then I measured out the whole kitchen. It's 8 by 8 right now, and then that gave me enough room to frame in the pantry. So the bathroom, the pantry, and the kitchen are 100% framed in. And on that kitchen, I calculated the width of it based on 2-foot counters on both on that side wall, the back wall, and the left wall. And that leaves me 4 feet of walking space in the middle of that. So move that back over. So that's where I'm at right now. So I got the bathroom completely framed out. It's 6 feet wide by 8 feet deep, and that gives me enough room to build a shower and tub in the back. And then I'll probably, it looks like, put windows, at least one window in that bathroom as well, just for some extra light. Then the kitchen is 8 feet by 8 feet. And that, again, is 2-foot counters all the way around, which means my countertop will hang over maybe a little bit longer than that with the 4-foot wide walking space. So you can get 2 people in the kitchen comfortably. And then, like I said before, the sink is going to be on this wall on the, let me get over here. There we go. On that wall, on the pantry wall. And then all the plumbing in the bathroom is going to be on that side of that wall. And then I'll have water storage in the bathroom with an on-demand water heater, and I'll run PEX up onto both sides so that even down the road when I do a well, which I do plan on doing someday, I'll run all the water through the pantry, and I'll have my pressure tank in there so that I keep everything on inside walls so it doesn't freeze. That's just a safety thing for me. Let's see what else we got here. Doing great. Yucky Alaskan weather left Texas. Brian, glad you can make it, my friend. Good to see you from Stark, Florida. Oh, very cool. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Kenai Caster, how you doing today? Yeah, breaking the cold, right? This has been very nice. I'm not complaining at all. I have only had to pull out the good boots, my Baffins, like one time, maybe twice this year. And other than that, I'm running around in tennis shoes. So as long as I keep the feet warm or dry, they stay warm. It hasn't been bad at all. Right? Be charming? It is. If you've watched any of the videos that I do, you know I like food and you know I like to cook. And it was really important to me to have big counter space because I want to do my own breads and I want to do all that stuff. And it was important to me that I have enough counter space to be able to work on. So the kitchen was something that I put probably more thought into than just about anything else, including, the loft upstairs. So next weekend's project is I'm picking up the 3/4 inch plywood and lifting up all of the OSB, the oriented strand board that's upstairs right now, taking all of that off and replacing it. Most of I think it's all 5/8 inch. I'm going to replace that with 3/4 inch, which will give me much more stability when I'm walking up there, and that'll allow me to take the final measurements that I need, although I can calculate those out now for the staircase. So I'm going to do that next weekend and then probably start on the stairs next weekend as well. The stairs are going to be 3 feet wide, and for those that haven't been here for lives or haven't seen it in previous videos, my intention is to have all of my electric for the entire cabin underneath the staircase. So my battery storage, my inverters, and everything will be underneath there. Thank you very much for Karen. For that, Karen, if you guys do hit the thumbs up button, it does tell YouTube, hey, this is kind of interesting. Maybe you should go check this out. Much appreciated for anybody who does. If you don't or you can't, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. Todd, thank you, brother. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, Todd came over Friday, I think, after I got done framing in the bathroom. And then he's all, I didn't think you needed help doing the bathroom. I go, I didn't, dude. But he's been here helping me every time I need it. He's like Mr. Physical Labor. He called me last weekend and apologized for being late for work, like it's a real job. Jan, woot, how you doing? Right? You know, I don't know what's going in the bathroom, and you can never have enough storage. So there'll be cabinets in the bathroom, of course, right? Cupboards. So it just may end up being extra storage too. But I had the space, and I wanted to throw that shower on that shower and tub stall on that very back wall. And what I'll probably end up doing is buying the tub. And I've done some tile work in the past just on my own, playing around it. But what I'll probably do is end up buying the tub and throwing it in there, and then building the shower stall myself around it. So it'll be one of those custom things that keeps me busy during the winter. Good to see you. And if you guys are not fans of or following Jay and Jen, you need to, because they're awesome, awesome people. They do lives on occasion. I think you guys do them once a month now, or every so many weeks you'll see them doing lives. But their videos are fantastic, and they are building and have built already their cabin off grid, and they're doing it like debt free, like kind of the same thing I am. But I don't know how Jay and Jen do it. They find the greatest deals on stuff, and they tell you how they find those deals, which is awesome. What size stove or oven am I going to install? I don't know what the final one will be, but I actually found one on Marketplace today, and just before I went live, she was going back and forth with me, and it's just a propane 4-burner. I think probably like a 30-inch, but eventually it'll be something bigger than that. I do have plans for an outdoor oven when I get to that point, when I have the time to get to that point. But right now, I'm just going to go with whatever I can get in here, because buying a stove or an oven for an off-grid cabin is pretty restrictive if you don't have the power to back it up. So I can buy any propane stove and light those burners on top with something like this, right? But I can't light the oven because the ovens are all electronic, so their pilot lights won't come on until the oven calls for it to come on, and that's a bunch of electronic stuff. So they have to be plugged in, unless I go the route of buying a specifically off-grid oven or stove, and the price on those is pretty expensive, but they're beautiful. So down the road, maybe something like that. But right now, like I said, I think I found one in Homer for $100. She was messaging me just before I went live, and I'm going to get with her and her husband and see if I can't get down there and pick it up. It's not pretty, but it works. That's all I really care about to begin with. Jonathan is asking, do I think I'm going to want to put in a window in the kitchen? Actually, I already have a window for the kitchen, and it's already framed in. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look between, like right where my finger's pointing right now, between the ladder right here, that's actually framed in for a 24 by 24 window, and the window's right back in the loft back. I just didn't cut it in because I was trying to close everything in so that I could get in here and do the interior work. So right now I've got, like I said, right up there, I've got a bunch of insulation shoved in there, and I do have the vapor barrier actually over that right now. But when the weather changes and we get to spring, I'll cut that window out and make sure that I have a window in the kitchen. Brother Will was over here today, and he said, "You're not putting your sink underneath your window?" And I said, "No, because it takes me 15 or 20 minutes to wash dishes. But if I'm working on that countertop, I'll be doing that for an hour or two a day. And I'd much rather be able to work over that countertop for an hour or two a day looking out that window than I would washing dishes for 15 or 20 minutes. I agree, Jess. The kitchen is the soul of the house, and it is in my house, that's for sure. Steve, Whiskey Harbor, how you doing, my friend? I did get your email. I don't know if I responded to you or not, but I'm going to check out the link that you sent me probably this evening after I'm done with all this and get everything back into the trailer. For now, I've been spending my nights off in here. So I've been off Friday. For the last few weeks, I've been off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Next week, I have a 2-day weekend. I have to work on Friday. So I've been spending Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night in the cabin. So this was night number 6 sleeping in here. And um, Sunday night tonight for Monday, I go to work on Monday morning. Everything I have for work is all in the cabin or in the trailer. So it's just much easier to spend the night in there, get up in the morning, be able to get everything going so I can get motivated and go to work. But yeah, thank you for that link. And I will definitely check out those videos or that video later on today as well. Charles and Annalyn stairs. You know, I'm not really worried about building stairs. I've watched a million videos on them, and they're all pretty cut and dry. As long as all my measurements are right to begin with, I should have no problem at all. So the plan going forward right now is getting the sheeting replaced on the loft, so it's all 3/4 inch, rebuilding the stairs, and then that'll be done. And then I'm looking at actually flooring inside the cabin because I'd like to get that done. Once I have the staircase in, I could actually move in at that point because then I could put a bed upstairs. I would have stairs to go up and down. I've had a couple of comments about having to use the ladders all the time, and that basically I'm just writing a check to cash in the future about safety. And I agree, that's true. But when the staircase is in, I could probably move in at that point. And then I'd like to look at flooring and start to lay down what I have in my mind for a floor in here. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Exciting. Jewish Redneck Pepper, shalom, my friend. How are you doing today? Milo on the ready. Hello and welcome. Glad you could join me this afternoon. There's Karen. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but hi, Karen. How you doing? Lord Veda. Good to see you, Darth. Glad you could make it. Gary, welcome and thank you for joining me today. Have a closet in the bathroom is convenient for getting dressed. I'm going to. Yeah, there'll be some cupboards, and I can't really without picking the laptop up and move it go over there. But maybe I'll do that maybe I'll do a little bit more of that in the video that I'm going to do for next week that shows me building these out. When we're done here, I'll grab the cell phone and I'll walk over there and I'll show you what my plans are. I think I did, but I'll record another one just in case I didn't. Russell, another great off-gridder at Raspberry Rock off-grid. The cabin is looking fepic. Thank you, sir. Glad to have you here today. Hope you are doing fantastic. I didn't get into I was so busy the other day, man, that I didn't even get on your live for Books Fest until like the last 15 minutes of it. It was a busy, busy day. I got a lot done. Firefly Farm, good to see you. Glad you could join me today. Hope you are doing well. Also, when you get your wood stove, we have some extra 6-inch pipe. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much. I actually found one today. I didn't buy it yet. I didn't make an offer on it yet, but I found a Vermont Castings that would fit the bill. It's beautiful. God, it's gorgeous. It's got the glass doors in the front, so Sean can kick back and look at his flame as he sips his cup of tea. Yeah. Closer. But I don't want to put that hole in the roof until I know it's going to be dry. Art, good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. Ryan says, Sean, you should make micro house waterproof out and insides. That's a long, wide hallway building, bed, toilet. I am planning on building a bunkhouse, and I probably haven't said much about that at all. I've kind of discussed what some of my outdoor plans are for this year. The bunkhouse won't happen this year, but I thought it would be kind of cool to have a bunkhouse built with its own heat source and everything else so that when family comes up, they've got a place to stay and they're not in my house. That's the main thing, right? But I do have plans of building a lot. I've kind of got a building bug now. It's been a ton of fun. And I can't explain how much enjoyment I get out of doing this. And I thought I would enjoy it, but you never really know if you're going to enjoy something until you start doing it. And man, when I was throwing those walls up yesterday and the day before, I'm like, man, this is a ton of fun. Okay, what can I build next? Be charming. I like the idea of the window over the work counter. You can do dishes with your eyes closed, right? Exactly. And honestly, how much time do you spend doing dishes every day? I mean, even when, I had my mom living with me, I had my daughter living with me, I had my brother living with me, I had my niece living with me. And mom did the dishes most of the time. But in that house, that's where I got the idea. The sink was not in front of the window. The sink was off to the side. So in my case, the sink would have been on that very back wall if this was that house. And it's just so much nicer having that counter to work on and being able to look out into the woods. It's just so much nicer. Carrie C, how are you today? Awesome to see you. Where does the brewery go? Oh, Mr. C, as in Sly Pig himself, the man, the myth, the legend. The brewery will be in the kitchen, dude. That's going to be like the central brewery, bakery, everything that I need will be right there. We're halfway through winter on February 3rd. So, what I noticed up here, since I've been up here now for 10 years, I've been in this property. This is the third winter on this property. One of the things I noticed is in March, we start to see a big temperature change. And then by April, we usually start to see some melt. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to get snow still, but then spring is just around the corner. And I'm getting pretty excited because if you remember last year, most of what I started doing on the building here was in May. And then the first time that I ever slept on the property in the tent was on the weekend of May 17th, my birthday. So we should have ground clear by then, and I should be able to get a lot of the projects started that I want to get started just before, at the end, probably mid-April, end of April. And the garden's going to be a big part of that. I know, right? It's very cool. I love the lives, man. I get some of the neatest people that show up on the lives, and some of the questions I get are just so awesome. I love doing them. They're a ton of fun for me. I wish I could do them year round, but unfortunately that May window is usually about when I have to stop because all the fishing starts here in the Kenai Peninsula, and I am doing everything off of a hotspot on a cell phone, and the cell phone towers get so congested that I can't get a good enough signal. Heck, I usually can't get a good enough signal to upload videos from the house. Now, we do have Starlink up here now, and maybe down the road I'll do that, but I'm not ready to pull the trigger on another, $100 bill month or $100 a month bill and $500 for equipment. I'm going to probably hold off on that for a bit more. Karen's asking how the family's doing. Talked to both my daughters this last week. Talked to all my grandkids, and they're doing fantastic. Mom's doing good. Talked to her as well. Chatted a bit with the brothers just in text, but everybody's doing fantastic. Everybody's doing real good. One of the funniest things is my granddaughter, who is going to be 3 this year, is smart as a whip. And every time her mom leaves her phone sitting on the counter and walks out of the room, my granddaughter picks it up, gets on Messenger, and video chats me. So it's super, super cool. The other day, I get the video chat request from my daughter, Ashley, and I go, sure, because if I'm not doing anything right away, I will pick it up every time right away with my kids video chatting. So I pick it up and I hit the accept button and the camera opens up and there's my granddaughter. And I'm all, what are you doing, Rosie? Her name's Rosalie. Well, what are you doing, Rosie? She goes, hi, Grandpa. And then she starts talking away and everything else. And I hear in the background, I hear Mom saying, what are you doing with my phone? Did you call your grandpa again? Super cool. Super cool. Oh, okay. The sleeping bag is over 118 Canadian. This is one of the greatest sleeping bags I have ever owned. And I got it on a website called Sportsman's Guide. And I've bought a lot of stuff. Sportsman's Guide has some great prices, but I don't know if they're a Canadian company. I know they're an American company. And they have all kinds of outdoor stuff that you may want to get. They've got a bunch of cast iron stuff and everything else. And if you become a member and you pay like $20 a year, you get even more discounted prices. But this bag was rated to 30 below zero. And I've had it at well over 30 below zero in the trailer. And it's super warm. It stays super warm. And it's a canvas outer and a flannel inner. And I'm a huge flannel fan. Bubba Wolf, good to see you. Glad you could make it today. Yeah, I got to tell you, Ryan, that when that trailer leaves this property, I am done with trailers. I don't even camp in trailers. So the motorhome that I have, I took it up camping with my brothers and my kids in California in the Sierra Nevadas before I moved up here in it. And they all slept in the motorhome, and I slept in a tent outside. I'm a ground sleeper, man. I'm not a real big fan of sleeping in trailers, and I've had to live in one for 10 years now. Anything on wheels from this point forward is pretty much done with me. I did. I caught Rum on the Rocks, Russell. Definitely. Rum on the Rocks is awesome, man. Crazy Bird Farm, glad you can make it today. Hey, Sean, Kevin is looking great. Shout out from Vermont, Mike and April. Thank you very much. Vermont's one of those states I definitely want to see at some point in my life. I definitely want to get out there and check it out. I don't know what it is. I was born and raised in San Francisco, California, and the Bay Area around San Francisco. My brother's the same way, and all of us want to get out that way at one point or another and check it out because it's absolutely beautiful. Romabout, good to see you. How you doing, my friend? It's been a while. Good to see you. Just Vermont Casting, nice stuff, right? They make pretty stoves. They make beautiful stoves. There was one that was like almost like a candy apple red finish on the outside. And if I could have pulled out my credit card and handed it to them, I would have bought that stove that day. It was absolutely beautiful. They're pricey though. If you get a Vermont Castings, you're lucky. They're great. A lot of friends have them. There was one. It was like this one I'm looking at was like $700, and it's not the fancy bells and whistles model. It's a pretty basic model, but there was one that was like $750. And it's not Vermont Castings, but it's one of those soapstone stoves. But it's missing a couple of pieces that are pretty expensive. So would have probably ended up bringing the price to about $1,500 to buy the pieces for. But they're out there. When spring comes, I'll see a ton more deals. I know I will. Rhonda, I am. It's just awesome. I'm generally an upbeat, positive person anyway. We kind of talked about this last week, but my mood and my level since getting to this point and being able to sleep in here, it's night and day. It's just incredible. There's like a big weight that I didn't even know that was on my shoulders to get here, to get to this point is just gone right now. And every single day is something enjoyable. And I'm like, what can I do today? What can I do to make it a little faster over here? It's just awesome. It's a feeling that's hard to describe. Diana Reynolds, how are you today? I might configure my stairway straight up. Yeah, originally I was going to, if I had to, I was going to have to figure a way to maybe build a landing and then go up. But taking the measurements that I was taking earlier today, I'll be able to bring the staircase straight down and have a 3-foot area for a landing on the bottom, which will be perfect, which will be no problem at all for me. Most houses are, I think, Charles. Most houses do have the sink in front of the window. So I think what I'm doing is probably not as common as what you have, as what most people have. Built on the rock homestead, my kitchen's under the window. The faucet and the spare bathroom on the opposite side of my mobile home are the only 2 faucets that tend to freeze up, even if the faucets are dripping. Yeah, it's tough, and that's why I want to make sure that all of my water lines are on internal walls so that I don't have to worry about that. Now, mind you, if the cabin froze on the inside, I'd still have to freeze it up, or it would still freeze up. But hopefully I'm avoiding that, and then going with the PEX where the pipe can actually expand and not break. I'll avoid all of that chance of damaging pipes when they freeze up, and hopefully not have any freeze up at all. Yeah, Starlink is $99 a month, and it's $160 to get solar power for it. I don't know about that. I wouldn't have it connected 24/7. So, I mean, I would have it running when I have the generator running, but the equipment is like $500. So you have to buy the equipment to begin with. You set the dish yourself. It's pretty easy to set. There's an app, I think, for your phone for the whole thing. There's a couple of Starlink Alaska Facebook groups that I belong to now that are answering a bunch of questions for me before I pull the trigger on that. But it's that $99 a month that I don't want yet. So if I can hold off on it, I'll hold off on it. It's not like I'm not going to town all the time anyway to upload videos during the summer. Summer is fishing time. People in Alaska are always on the go. It's over so fast you can't not exactly. And you know, being outdoors, if Alaskans love being outdoors, I think more than any place I've ever been, and we don't usually care about the weather when we're outdoors either. So we're outdoors in the winter, we're outdoors in the spring, summer, fall, but when the fish are in the river, it's just, that's where you're at. You're out there catching as much as you can, and just standing on the river, watching that water flow is so beautiful. David Evans, good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it today. In the old days, our parents would freak out if we grabbed the phone and started dialing random numbers. Yeah, they would. Never late, David. You're always on time when you get here. Summers in Alaska just posted a video sharing their experience so far with Starlink. They're in North Pole. Yeah, they're up in the Fairbanks area, and I've watched a couple of their videos. I'll have to go check that one out. And the other person that I watch, and this isn't so. For those not familiar with it, Starlink is Elon Musk's internet program basically, and it's based on satellites. And huge, great speeds from everything I'm seeing right now. I kind of want to see if Rudy gets it at Alaska Prepper. And what Rudy thinks of it, because he'll be doing kind of more of the same thing that I'm doing than Summers in Alaska will. Summers in Alaska has, kids and family, and they're going to get a lot more use out of that. They're going to be beating that thing to death more than I ever will. So I kind of want to see what somebody who will use it more sparingly will find out whether or not it's worth it. Sportsman's Warehouse has some great new sleeping bag, lines with canvas, outers like that. I picked up a 0 degree. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Yeah, Sportsman's is our local, I guess I would call it Alaska's local Cabela's, even though we have Bass Pro and Cabela's up here now, which is one company. Sportsman's is a separate company, and they've got some neat stuff there. They really do. I buy a lot of my outdoor stuff and fishing stuff from Sportsman's. And they're right next to the grocery store I work at, so it's really easy to get off of work and walk right into Sportsman's. I couldn't work there, though, because I'd spend my whole check in that place. Yeah, right? That's the other thing, too, is when you're sleeping in a tent, when you're out camping and you're sleeping in a tent, the sounds are completely different. The sounds in this cabin are completely different than the sounds in that trailer. So I'm hearing the wind whip, because I have the tarp over the roof right now. I'm hearing the wind rip at the tarp, and it's a neat sound. I really enjoy it. Ray Davis, live in Texas. Grandson's in Vermont. Beautiful but cold today. Welcome, Ray. As always, glad to have you here. Gary B, how you doing, my friend? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Irish Heart, how are you doing today? Hello from Wisconsin. Well, hello from Funny River, Alaska. Glad you could pop in. I'm scrolling through here now. Hello from Samantha and Brian in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Well, welcome, guys. Glad to have you here. When I build mine, I'm 100% not putting water lines on the exterior walls as well. It just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, you put your hand on that wall, even with the R21 insulation that I have in there right now, and it's still cool. And it just didn't make any sense to me. If I don't have to do something on an exterior wall in a cabin in Alaska, I'm not going to do it. Like I said, we've had a mild winter, but it's not uncommon for winter here to be 30, 35, 40 below zero. So, and for extended periods of time, not just for a day or two. You know what? We could get to, when I lived in Fairbanks, that's a whole different animal, but we could get to 20 below zero and stay there for a couple of weeks here, which is not as bad as Fairbanks, where they'll stay there for a month. But yeah, if you can avoid doing the water lines on the outside walls, the exterior walls of your house, I think you'll be a lot happier with how it works when it's done. And the nice thing is, in that pantry, I'll have plenty of room to put in a tank. I'll put it in an RV, 12-volt RV pump for the water. And I might actually, I'll either take that out of the fifth wheel, or I'll take that out of the motorhome, because I have both right now. And then I can run it through an on-demand water heater, and then I can have hot water right away in either the bathroom or the kitchen, which to me will be a game changer. Not having to heat water on the stove to do dishes will be a game changer. So PEX pipes do freeze, don't get me wrong, but they don't burst like non-PEX pipes will burst. And they're pretty easy to repair. So for those who aren't familiar with them, they're a plastic design, and they expand and contract. I think they're a much smarter way to go if you live anywhere where it freezes. That stair position will take up a lot of good space. Why not run it with the wall floor? So it's taking up space on that wall, but it's going to be directly against that wall. And yes, it will take up space, but underneath will be all the storage for all my electrics. So my batteries, my inverters, all that kind of stuff will be underneath that. I'll put a couple of outlets on the outside, because I'll build a wall on the staircase on the outside. I'll put a couple of outlets there, and I'll fill it up with a bookcase. So it will take up space, but I want a staircase as opposed to just a random ladder to the loft. I want something that's comfortable so that as I get a little older, it's easier to walk up and down. And then when family comes up, they can stay up there when I eventually throw on the additional bedroom out here when I get too old, want to go up and down the stairs. So it will take up space, but anything in the cabin is going to take up space. But that's not going to, it's only going to take up 3 feet on that wall. And it will serve a good purpose when it's done. Right? So last year, and this is a great comment. So last year, I spent the entire year doing nothing but this. From May on, it was work on the property, work on the cabin, work on the property, work on the cabin. And anybody who does this for a living could have been done with it in 2 months, right? But I wasn't. So everything was new to me. And I was trying to do it all cash. So, there got to be certain points where I had to stop for a bit before I got more money. So then I was working on something else to get to this point. I'm not doing that this year. I'm going to enjoy Alaska this year. I'm going to do a lot more stuff in Alaska this year that I moved here for. And I really think that people do not take advantage of where they live enough. And I was guilty of that last year. I'm not doing that again this year. Summers don't have their dish up high enough for that latitude. Not surprised that they have so many interruptions. They need to get it above. Oh, okay. Yeah, if there's trees, it's line of sight to the sky. So if there's trees in the way, they're going to be in trouble. But there are more satellites being launched all the time. So this system is getting better and better up here. I'm not going to, I originally was in the ground floor. I had my request in originally when they were first going to go live to be a beta tester up here. And I just didn't want to pull the trigger on it. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I waited. So Russell's saying you're paying 158 Canadian a month with tax. Yeah, I don't know what the final rate will be up here. Again, when I get closer to doing something like that, I'll look at it a lot deeper. Trail Camp Pete, good to see you. When am I getting my wood stove? Don't know yet. I'm looking, but I'm not installing it no matter what until we get some dry weather in the summer and my metal arrives for my roof, because I do plan on trying to get the metal roof done this year. I want to do all of that at once, right? I want to install the stove, run it up, install the roof, be done with the roof. So that'll all happen in one shot. Blip Zero, hi from Alaska. Welcome, my friend. Glad you could make it here today. Very cool. Vincenza, good to see you, my friend. I hope you are feeling much, much better. I hope you're over the bug that you had. And I hope you get yourself healthy and happy quick. From Anchorage, very cool. What do you guys got for weather up there today, man? It's got to be kind of nasty up there as well. I know that you guys seem to get, where we miss a lot of weather on the Kenai Peninsula. So we'll get storms that, imagine the hat here is the Kenai Peninsula, right? We'll get storms that come in over here that smack Seward and Valdez. And then we'll get storms occasionally that come in this way. But a lot of the storms that smack Seward kind of travel over and hit Anchorage, and so do these ones. They hit Anchorage. So you guys can have nasty weather, and we could be nice down here. Put the water lines through the center of the hose going up from the water heater from the basement. I don't have a basement, but kind of. So I'm going to put the water lines through. If you look behind me there, you'll see the subfloor for the loft. I'm going to run it up through those. So they'll be in the center of the house, and they'll be going through the warmer part of the house as well, because the loft is much warmer than downstairs, obviously. And I think that that and power lines will also be running through those, through the rafters up there for the subfloor. And how's my humidity? Are your wet spots dried out yet? Yes and no. So I still have some wet spots along the edges of the house that are drying out. Right now, the humidity upstairs is 61%. The humidity downstairs is 77%. So yeah, it's high. The propane heater is part of that. But a lot of it, like I've said in multiple videos, is because we had so much rain last year, everything got so wet. So even as I'm running this heat in here, the moisture is still coming out of the wood. And I'm not worried that it's going to be an issue because it's too cold for anything to form, in the way of mold or anything like that. If I get a good dry week up here during the summer, I'll leave the windows open and this place will dry out massively. But right now, like I said, it's 85% humidity outside. It's lower than that inside, and that's a bonus for me. Well, you had a PEX pipe crack during the Texas freeze of 23. You guys got pretty cold there too. And I don't know, again, if that was on an external wall, I can see why that would happen. I don't think I'm going to have that issue with internal walls. Charles and Anna Lynn are asking, once I have my well, how do I keep the water line from freezing from your outside supply? I don't know yet. I think I'll probably do like a heat tape thing, which means I'll have to have much more power at that point as well. But once you get so far down under the ground, it's not going to freeze. I'm not in an area where the ground freezes 20, 30, 40 feet deep. That's like a Fairbanks kind of area and a permafrost kind of issue. And I don't have that issue down here because a lot of folks have wells around here. Matter of fact, everybody here has a well. Brother Will has a well over in front of his house. So when I get to that point, I'll learn a lot more about it. Right now, I don't know enough about it to even say how I'm going to do that. I've thought a lot of this out, but at the same time, I'm learning something every single day. It's crazy how much I planned to do this. I mean, down to teaching myself how to do unbelievable things for my own food preservation and preparation, and I mean all that stuff, right? So I went into this planning on being this romantic off-grid lifestyle of doing everything self-sustainable, and I had no idea. The first day that I lived in my trailer on this property, the only power that I had was the kerosene lamp, or the only light that I had inside was the kerosene lamps. Now, I did have the trailer wired for LED strip lights in certain areas, but I was convinced that I was going to do it. I was going to rough it. That first winter, there were some days that I really questioned what I was doing. Really, really questioned what I was doing. But you know what? If you're willing to give up some of your comfort and that comfortable feeling to get to where you want to be, you will A, get there eventually, and B, you will find that your comfort zone is a lot wider than you originally believed it would be. I cannot stress enough that if there's something that you want to do out there in life and you have a dream to do it, you need to just do it. You need to read up on it, to study as much as you can on it, but then expect that everything you think you know is probably wrong until you get out there and do it. I'm looking at Russell's got a comment coming up here, and I'm not like Russell, who literally has to have everything at his property to live because he cannot just run to the store, right? I'm at a grocery store every day. I work there, so I can pick up food in town every single day. The Kilchers are the same way. When you watch them, they make it seem like they're so remote and off grid, but they actually live closer to a grocery store than I do, and they can drive down a paved road to get there. I've got to drive down dirt road to get to a paved road before I can get to 16 miles to get to the store, and they're like 10 miles away from one. So it doesn't matter how much you plan. There's going to be surprises, and they're fun, and you just have to be willing to accept them as, okay, didn't plan for that, but we'll see what happens. Russell's gray water outlet under the sink froze up yesterday. A hammer, a screwdriver, and a butane torch cleared it all up. I've had the gray water line in that trailer freeze every single winter because you close the cabinets, and as you're heating, the warm air goes up. But because the cabinets are closed, if I forget to put RV antifreeze down that drain once a week, it's gonna freeze up on me, and then it takes hours to thaw that thing out. What I usually end up doing is I usually end up bringing a buddy heater down on the floor, opening the cupboard doors, and letting it start to heat until it finally goes, and I'll pour boiling water down in there and then RV antifreeze. But yeah, the stupid elbows are not designed to do that, and if you don't have the elbow, it stinks. So, Seed Marine, will the water from the sinks and bathtub shower drain to the exterior somewhere away from the cabin? Yes. I will put in, I've got plenty of room underneath to work. I will put in a gray water line and a gray water tank. Maybe this year if I was thinking about renting a mini excavator to kind of even some other stuff out around here. So if I rent the mini excavator for a week, and like I did the skid steer last year, I will put in probably a 55-gallon drum and a gray water tank, because gray water is not, it's not like septic where you have licensing that you have to do for it. I can put in a gray water tank pretty easy. Lewis Magic Grill, glad you could make it. Awesome to see you here today. Yeah, see, David's got heat tracing in her well coming to the house. Turn it on. Yeah, exactly. I just call that heat, heat tape basically is what it is. Sarah Follows, good to see you. Glad you could make it today. Okay, doing that in your raised beds. The next, you talked about that. You're doing like a hugelkultur kind of thing, and I might play around with one bed, doing that. I like the way when Sean James built his first garden on his first property. I like the way those mounds looked, and they seem to work. But even more than that, I like the way that he had these huge mounds and just all this produce coming out of them. And some of them, were, when you're standing up, they were like at chest level, so there's no bending over to harvest. I thought that was pretty cool. Liz Weekly, good to see you. Glad you could make it today. Scrolling through. If I miss your comment, by all means, say something again. Leave it down in there. I'm not skipping over anybody intentionally. Mike McKinley, oh, Sean, it was so cold on February 3rd and 4th, minus 27. Man, dude. I mean, I'm looking right now. 66.7 upstairs, 58.6 up or downstairs. Well, right here on the table level. Thank God we haven't, knock on wood, we haven't got that bitter cold. We did for about a week, and that was it. Yep, heat tape. Oh, you're talking Celsius. So Fahrenheit, minus 16, still cold. Still cold. Liz says minus 32 in Kempville, Ontario. Yeah, see, ouch, ouch. Jay and Jen, give you a lot of credit for living in that camper all this time. They're nice, but not in the winter. Dude, because you guys did it too. Campers are great as far as I'm concerned for temporary living, but for long-term living, they're inconvenient. There's no storage, and so I'm putting together a video of basically a time lapse of the build, right? That's going to come out in a couple of weeks, and I was looking at the first week that I was in that trailer, on this property, and how sparse the stuff was that I had in there. And now, mind you, I'm pretty diligent about not buying something that I don't use on a regular basis and that I actually need. And I looked at how sparse it was in there when I first moved in, and I looked at all the stuff that I have in there now, and I just shake my head and go, man, I don't know how somebody could do this. I don't know how you could live in something like that. I don't know how I lived in something like that as long as I have. They're not easy, but if you have a goal in mind and you have a plan, if you see that light at the end of the tunnel, you can put up with a lot. You really can. But yeah, guys, oh man, and these guys did it with two of them in the trailer. I don't know how Jen didn't kill you, Jay. I don't know how Jen didn't kill you. I really don't. And it was a nice, strong word. You could DIY a septic system in Alaska too. You have to get the permit from DEC. But one of my problems is that not far down the road here, like less than a quarter mile from me, is the Kenai River. So they're very, very particular about what you do anywhere near that river. So there might be some stuff that I have to do differently here. And to be honest, I don't know that I am interested in doing my own septic system. I think I'd rather have a professional come out and do that for me. It's like building a well, right? I'm pretty sure I can dig a hole in the ground. I don't think I want to. Bill Endelicato, I hope I got that right. Been watching a while and always wondered, am I off-grid by choice or necessity? A little of both, Bill. I'm personally off-grid by choice. Can I get power to this property? Yes. But the cost to bring the power to my place is about 40 grand. And so if I look at, I can spend $40,000 to have it brought here, because there is power at this end of the street, and there's power at that end of the street, but there's no power in between. So if I were to spend the 40 grand to bring it here, I would have that expense, and then I would have a monthly power bill. And I have found that for the last 3 years living off grid, I don't use as much power as I used to. So there's no financial justification for me to bring the power here, other than possible resale of the property down the road. It would make it much more appealing, and I'd make all that 40 grand and more back if I ever sold this property down the road. But I don't plan on ever selling it. So this doesn't make any sense for me to bite that bullet. And I enjoy the fact that I don't have one of the things you realize right off the bat when you live off grid, and when you do it as minimally powered as I am, there's no buzzing in the background. Silence is absolute silence, because I don't have a refrigerator buzzing. I don't have lights. I don't have all this stuff that you normally would have in a house with electricity going at all in the background. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of peaceful. So I plan on staying this way. I don't plan on going on grid. Russell, I looked through that tray stuff a while ago. 5 watts a foot. Exactly, right? Too much power to use it for anything. That's my big concern. Murray, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Right? The smile's got to be in your face, your voice, your eyes. Then you know it's real. And mine is. What does it cost in my area to put in a well, and how far down do they need to drill? I don't know. I haven't asked. I know that where I'm at, it's probably not going to be that bad. I probably won't have to go more than 60 or 80 feet. And I know that Brother Todd, across the street, that you guys have seen in a couple of videos, he's got an artesian well at his place that just pumps water right out of the ground. So I could get lucky there. I don't know. But I'll find out more about that as I go down the road. That's not super high on my priority list right now. I can haul water, and that's all I really worry about. As long as I have access to water. I do my laundry in town. It's pretty easy. It takes me about an hour and a half to get everything done in one shot, 1 day a week. So water's not a priority for me right now. Or well's not. Water always is. Jan Hadaway, good to see you. High 50s in Middle Georgia. I would kill for high 50s right now. That would be so awesome. Charles and Annalyn, 80 with a breeze. I would be dead. I can't do 80 anymore, man. I can do 80 for a day or two, but as long as it cools down at night, other than that, I can't do it. Trail Camp Pete says minus 38C yesterday, +4. Wow, that is crazy. That is a big temperature swing, man. Holy smokes. Henry Leslie, Vermont, glad you could make it today. Good to see you. Minus 12, 20 for a couple of days there. Yeah, you guys got a cold streak that came through. I wonder about tiny home peoples too. They don't have all. I watched a whole bunch of stuff on tiny homes before I ever did this, and all I can think of is you can't do anything in there. There's no storage. There's no room. So you have to be a different type of person to want to live like that, and that was not me. That's why this place is 20 feet wide, 24 feet deep, because I have plenty of room. Ward had to go split wood. Get busy, Ward. Get the fireplace going. Keep it warm in there. How much gas for my generator? Exactly, right? And how much of a solar system could I put in for half that, for $20,000 and not have a bill? If I were to spend 20 grand on a solar system for this place with batteries and stuff, I guarantee you I would never have to worry about anything. It would be, while solar is not viable here during the heavy winter months, for 8 months out of the year, 7 months out of the year, I would never have to worry about firing the generator up, and I wouldn't have a monthly bill. Leslie Lindsay, good to see you. Awesome. Glad you could pop in and say hi. AK1, how's the spray bottle doing? Don't know what you mean on that one. I need more context on that. I can speak from experience that living with too many people in a small space is challenging, especially when you don't like them. Nice. Nice. It is peaceful and it is a lot of work, but it's a satisfying amount of work, right? It's the kind of work that when you're done at the end of the day and you sit down to have dinner or you sit down for a cup of tea, um, it's just you feel like you've accomplished something. And I think that that was a big thing that was missing in my life before I ever did this was I would just come home from work every day exhausted because I was at work every day, but I did the same thing. And here it's always something different that you need to do, and you engage your mind a lot more when you do that. And I really think that that has been a huge reason why the smile came back to my face and my eyes, is because it's there's that next challenge, that next thing, um, and it's just you never know what you're going to run into. It's a ton of fun. I love it. Carol, good to see you. Glad you could make it today. Really? Hmm. There we go. Got rid of that. See, this is good to know right now. So Art's building a place down the road for me here in Funny River, and his quote for a well was $9,000. So it will be a while. It'll be a while before Sean gets a well, unless Art decides to buy the equipment and put wells in up here. In which case, I'll talk to Art. Right? Exactly. Those are noises that you don't know you're going to miss until you miss them. Right? Until they're gone, and then you go, man, it's so peaceful here. Alaska does require gear, right? There, but Maine requires gear. Texas requires gear. It's just different gear. So you just have to figure out what you need for here, and that's what you get. Mind you, you're not taking it with you if you move from here to Texas, which I did. It's a whole different set of wherever you live is a whole different set of things that you need. Jillian, good to see you. Glad you can make it today. I'm popping through here right now trying to make sure I say hi to everybody because we're at that hour point. But I'll hang out for a bit more if you guys have more questions and comments. I don't have a problem with that. Good. I want to see, do that. Post a video of your place because I do want to check it out. I definitely want to see what you got going on. Lone Wolf, glad to see you. Awesome you can be here. Yeah, I'm just not going to get a wood stove. It worked with the tools, so maybe Ward will show up with a wood stove now. Watching sunset toward me, right on, man. 66 would be perfect. That would be perfect temperatures. Yeah, I don't know that it wouldn't have made any difference to me. It didn't obviously make any difference to me that this place didn't have a well. But I'm one guy. It's a lot easier for a single person to live like this than somebody who had a family. So two people, I'm going to use Jay and Jen again because they're a couple, can pull it off just as well. Go down and haul your water, bring it up. You make plans accordingly. But you bring kids into that mix. You got 3 or 4 kids, little rugrats running around, or my grandkids here, and they need to be showered and washed up because they're in the mud and the dirt and everything all the time. It's a whole different dynamic then. A whole different dynamic. Diana wants to know how the ladies are. They're doing fantastic. Feathers have almost completely come in on all the reds again. That was a scary point there where they decided to go into molt when we decided to hit 30 below zero. And I lost the 2 ladies, and there was nothing I could do about it. But I learned something. I learned a lesson there. So I've changed their feed up a bit. I'm giving them a lot more high fat, high protein stuff to go with their feed as well. And they're doing fantastic. I think they're enjoying the warm weather, though. I'll be honest with you. But they're all doing good. Right? But if he needs my help, no wood stove, but if he needs my help, no problem. Get her in a trailer. If you can't talk her into it, get her in a trailer. And then when she complains the first time about, man, there's no room in here and it's always a mess, tell her, if we were just to put a little cabin over there, and then let her write down on a piece of paper what she would like to see in a cabin. Problem solved. You're welcome. That was free, by the way. Word, everybody's saying hi to everybody else in here. Bird Dog, good to see you, my friend. Glad you can make it today. It's balmy 15 in northern Minnesota's Iron Range. It'll be the low 30s the next 3 days. That's like being in Florida to you. It has been warm. So we've been hitting 30, 33, 34 degrees up here, and it's very comfortable. I'm outside in a t-shirt in that weather. Thank you very much, Carol. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate it. Brad, good to see you. Glad you can make it, my friend. Do I know what I have put into this place money-wise? And I kind of talked about that last week. Cabin and property, everything right now about 25 grand. So acre and a half of property plus was 10 grand. So probably about 15 grand in this cabin right now. And that's a pretty close estimate to where I'm at, because I know how much money I had in the bank. I know how much money I pulled out of my retirement because I wasn't going to have enough in there to retire on anyway. It was in there so that I could have the money for the build. So looking at about 15 grand at this point right now. Ward, if you didn't see it, get a hold of Todd. Where else do I have? Yvonne. Thank you very much for joining me today, Yvonne. Always great to see you. Always great to see your comments as well. This is not true. So Mike's asking, is it true that you don't need a permit in Alaska to build a place? You do need permits for certain things, pretty much everywhere in Alaska. But if you're in a incorporated area, so if I'm in Soldotna, I need a permit for everything. If I'm in Anchorage, I need a permit for everything. If you're in Fairbanks, you need a permit for everything. But if you're outside of those incorporated areas, like me in Funny River, I don't need a permit for most things. I still need a permit from the DEC for septic. But if you have it installed, usually your installer will take care of all that for you. The contractor will do all that for you. But other than that, I really don't need a permit for anything here. But when you're close to town, you're within those city limits, you're going to need a permit for everything you do. Pete wants to know, when am I going to fly up here to Ontario to do Books Fest with Russell and City Girl? That would be fun, don't get me wrong, but I'm not traveling anywhere. If I'm going anywhere this year, it's going to be over to the other side of the Cook Inlet to go check out Dick Prenicke's cabin. I would love to do that. But I'm going to do some vacations in Alaska. I moved here because I love it, and I haven't got out enough in it. But if I ever do head that way, I would definitely hook up with Russell and City Girl. That would be a ton of fun. I don't know if my liver could take that, though. Need to find, it is. It's a great price. And sure, I did buy it from Brother Will. But one thing I found is when you buy outside of town, like I did in this Funny River area, a lot of times offer them less than what they're asking. Offer what you're comfortable paying for, because a lot of people get talked into this. My real estate agent said it's worth this much, but my tax bill tells me what the borough thinks this place is worth. And we don't have counties here, we have boroughs. And when I bought this place, the borough estimate value of this land was a lot less than what the asking price for most places of this size would be. So that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm going to offer. I'm not going to ever offer somebody what they're asking for unless that's in line with what the tax rate is at that area at the time. And then what I needed to do here was so extensive that I think that you have some negotiation room in there. Cash obviously speaks well. I didn't pay cash for this, but if you can pay cash for a place, you can definitely have the higher hand on it. Looks like we have just about reached the end, you guys. Liz has a comment here. Night Ward, have a good week and take care. Oliver popped in as well. I missed saying hello to you. Glad you could make it today. Awesome to see you. Guys, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. If you don't have anything else for me right now, things have kind of slowed down a bit. And I know everybody's Sunday night. Everybody's got their things they got to get done before they have to go to work for Monday. Lone Wolf had a comment. Well, first I'll comment on Matt's. Cooper Last Cabin is working out for me. Nice. Exactly, right? You'll have plenty of time to find land, fortunately. Very cool. Lone Wolf, last I checked, this could have changed too. To install septic yourself, you simply need to take an online test and pay a fee. Oh, I didn't look. And that could be too, but I'm way for. I've got an outhouse. I'm fine with that. I'm a single guy. An outhouse is not a problem for me. If that were to change down the road, then I'm sure that might become a priority. But for me, it's not a big deal right now. Liz, thanks for joining me this week. As always, good to see you. Awesome, you could pop in. Exactly what Jay and Jen said. If you guys have not checked them out, definitely check out Jay and Jen Off Grid. Awesome, awesome, awesome channel. And you'll get to see Jay do all kinds of crazy stuff. And you'll get to see Jen laugh at him when he does. Todd, if you want power and gas, property will be more. Exactly. If you're buying a place that has power to it, gas lines to it, all that stuff, obviously, the more perks the property has, the more expensive the property will be. Keep your chin up when the punches come in. Exactly, right? Exactly. When things are going wrong, just go, it could get a whole lot worse. 32-mile-an-hour wind in Kenai right now. It's a windy city to begin with. Thank you guys very much. As always, have yourself a fantastic week. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for leaving the comments, the thumbs up, and everything else. I greatly appreciate your support. I think that has grown to be one of the things I've loved about doing this now more than anything is, when I put something out and somebody says something like, I had a couple of people comment last week saying, man, I've always wanted to do this. I'm seeing you do this, and now I think I can do that. And trust me, if I can do this, you can do it. As always, have yourself a fantastic week. We'll catch you next week. I'm still putting out the shorts on Monday and Wednesday with just little tidbits. I'm not always 100% on those, but we'll have the next video for you on Friday and live again next Sunday. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Have a fantastic week. I'm Sean in Alaska, and I'm out the door. I think I'm going to turn on the pot here and brew myself a pot of tea. Thanks, guys.